Welcome back to Hold and Modify, YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel. And I want to thank, first off, all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much. I know there's been a lot of you in the last couple of weeks. Totally appreciate it. And if you don't know, because I know I don't really do a lot of self-marketing, but if you go through my back catalog, click on my channel, I've got videos going. I've got almost 200 videos now. It's crazy. I can't believe I have 200 videos. Most of them are garbage, but you will find some useful stuff in there. I actually reference my own videos going back to see how to do things on the Amiga that I've forgotten. That's right. I make videos how to do stuff that I forget how to do, and then I go back and look at them. Anyway, we're currently playing with the Amiga 600. And for those of you that don't know, yeah, the Amiga 600 is like this miniaturized Amiga ECS chipset thing. It comes with the PCMCA in the side. It has the potential for 2 megs of chip memory, That's very easily done by just putting a little memory module in the trapdoor below. It comes with the 68,000, nothing new there. It comes with the same stereo, 4-voice, 4-channel audio thing. Nothing new there, and it does come with the joystick ports and the mouse ports on the side, which some folks like because it's quick and easy access, but of course, as you can see here, let me pan over. Yeah, it does get in the way of the mouse, right? So this is the problem. Trying to use your mouse and you're bumping into cables over here. Even more so, if you're using one of those USB adapters to use a USB mouse with your Amiga, you're really having a problem. But this was a cut down, more affordable version of essentially an Amiga 500. Yeah, you're not hallucinating. There's no numeric over here. In prior videos, in quite a controversial video, I compared this as the true sequel to the Commodore 64. And you know what that really came down to, folks? It just came down to the fact that, to me, it looks like an Amiga version of a Commodore 64. It's small, there's no numeric, you have your function keys and this little keyboard. And it's all the computer right here. Now, of course, with the Commodore 64, you have a cartridge slot, but here we have a floppy disk slot. That was really the main reason I said that. And that wasn't, I did a whole rant on, why I thought maybe it was intended from Commodore to be the successor to the 64. I could be wrong, maybe, sure, but I think it looks like an Amiga version of a Commodore 64. Anyway, what are we doing today? Today is upgrade stage, I guess you could call this upgrade stage 1. We're going to be putting in the 3.2.2 ROM. Well, wait a minute, Q, you said in your prior video that you wanted to keep this 2.0 because that was so awesome. Yes, until I found out hard drive size is limited, making WHD load very difficult. And if you want to put in something like the other thing we're going to do, the 68030, the A630, if you want to put this in here, you do need I believe a 3.1 or later ROM. And since I don't have any of those conveniently available, we're going to get a 3.2.2 ROM because I have one left over from my last order. I basically ordered 3.2.2 ROMs a week before 3.2.2.1 came out for every single Amiga I have, and this one showed up, and I don't have anything to put it in really, so I was like, we're going to put it in the 600, and yeah, we're going to put the A630, which is this awesome, apparently this is a lot more reliable than the infuriating card, the Furia. This is a 68030 that's fan-cooled. I think it has 64 megs of RAM, and that's it. No FPU, nothing else, just that. As you can see, there's no hard drive or SD card, micro SD card slot on it that I can see. It's just an accelerator card, like a kind of a classic Amiga accelerator card, just a modern take on it. So we're going to go ahead and slam this in here. Now, I am going to do the Workbench 3.2.2.1 install under WinUAE as always because, well, it's just easier to do it over there. And I don't want to have to burn a bunch of floppies. All right, let's get to it. So first thing with the Amiga 600, and I know a lot of you already know this, the LED cable, the power cable that connects to the motherboard is extremely, extremely short. It's also very, very fragile. So you need to pop this off very carefully, like just barely lifting it. By the way, the Amiga 600 keyboard thingy here, unlike the 500 and the 1200, this comes up with the keyboard, so it's heavy. So you might get caught off guard and yank it up real fast. So be careful, and then what you want to do is you just need to be super, super careful. Unplug it. I already screwed it up. I pulled on it too hard, and I risked just destroying the keyboard cable too. So in my excitement to show you how careful you need to be in order not to ruin this tiny short little connector. Did I ruin it? No, it's fine. I actually just yanked the whole 600 out and pulled its keyboard connector straight out of the socket.
Would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
I'm very, very lucky that I just didn't rip and destroy the keyboard cable. Oh, most underproduced, poorly produced Amiga content right here, folks. All right, so now as you can see, we are in here, and yes, there's the floppy drive, which does seem to work, by the way. And here's my keyboard connector, which hopefully hasn't been destroyed. Looks okay. Looks like it survived. Here, of course, is my hard drive, which I already have installed. This has Workbench 2.05 installed. I'm going to have to pull this and put 3.2.2.1 on it. What do you see down here? What is this red thing that's already in here? This is a 4 megabyte RAM expansion. And much like our A630 CPU, it basically sucks onto, or vampires, onto the existing CPU here. So we're going to go ahead and just pop it off. You can see right there, just like the new 630, just sticks right on top of the chip. Isn't that exciting? And of course, we have our Kickstart here. It's the only socketed item on this cost-reduced surface mount board. So we're going to go ahead and pull that off next. How are we going to do that? Using the chomper. Oh, before I do that, make note of the notch and where it's at. If you look closely, if you look way down here, you'll see that this does have the pin offset, meaning to the right here, this pin on the Kickstart needs to be in the last hole, okay? Which means there's a hole or a pinhole exposed here on the left side. So if you put this Kickstart in to the left and you fill those holes, that's wrong. Don't do that. See how it is here? That's how you want to do it. And you can't always trust the orientation of the writing, so you want to look for the notch. No notch. Oh, look at that, a notch. So notch to the left, and then make sure that the chip is right justified all the way to the right side. Oh boy. Okay, so this for some reason is not doing its thing. It's not doing its thing. It's it's really not anchoring itself underneath that chip. Yeah, it's like sliding off. We're going to use our LTT approved screwdriver to do the wiggle wiggle. Never pry. Don't ever frickin' pry. Wiggle wiggle, okay? Okay. Wow. So we got her out. Doesn't look like we murdered her too bad. And thankfully the chip socket itself has some physical protection from the motherboard below. That's nice. So here we go. It's so tiny. Here's our little notch. Because this is a new chip, we're going to use our pin straightener to get the pins nice and straight. That'll make this much easier to put into our 600. Look at my forearm. Look at my gross liver spotted forearm. Okay, right justified. Notch to the left. Actually, the writing matches the stock ROM as far as orientation goes. Squishy squish. Look at that. What a deal. It's in there. Oh man, I look like a pro. I'm going to go work for Canada. Okay, so let's put the A630. We're on a roll. Let's just get everything in here, right? So this sucker is, this is big. Is this really going to be able to stay on this socket without any kind of pin support? There's no little pin or footies or anything. Oh boy. All right. Let's see here. I don't know. You know, I'm just assuming this is the correct orientation. I mean, that's like the only way it fits, so. Oh, God, yeah, you really got to push down on that, by the way. Wow. Yeah, gave that a good chunk, and it went click, and then it went, like, click. All right. So what's this going to do? Sit on top of the fan and make it useless? Probably. What we could do is maybe try and do a wedge. Can we do a wedge? Let's see. Could I do a wedge like down like this? Oh, maybe, sure, I don't know. Ay, 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 Q, Q, Q. Anyway, we got to go over to WinUE and install Happy Amiga OS 3.2.1. Hey, well, look, it worked. So I went ahead and popped that little CF card out, took it over to my PC, did the WinUE install, and I got 3.2 installed, and then I ran the 3.2.21 update. I did the full update now, not the hot fix, because I had only had 3.2 installed. Did that whole update, and then I installed some kind of useful software that you might want to use on the 600. What I did not do is the full WHD load install, because that's going to be for another video. I just wanted to get us this far to show you that the A630 is indeed working. And you can see up here, we've got our memory, our 65 megs. 65 megs? Yes, 65 megabytes. Why is it at 65 and not 64? I'll never understand this. I will never understand how this technology works. Anyway, let's fire up sysinfo, because this is a legit 68030. This isn't some, FPGA thing. So let's see what we get. So yes, as we can see here, we're confirming some things. I don't have my, it's a 2 meg ECS Agnes, but I don't have my expansion bay memory, so I only have 1 mega chip for now. I did go to Sorden and ordered up the expansion memory to get the full 2 megs of chips. So that'll get here, I don't know, a couple weeks from now. But I just wanted to see, and you can see we got our instruction, our data cache, our iBurst cache is turned on. Ooh, yes. So let's go ahead and push the speed button. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Look at that. We went from 0.74 MIPS to almost 10. Yes. Yes. Still not as fast. We're like half the speed of a 25 megahertz 68044,000. But as you look there, we're basically twice as fast as a 68030 25 megahertz Amiga 3000. And why? Because look at that. We're doing 51.8 megahertz on that 68030. That's banging. This is going to make any 3D flight sim game run super smooth. This is going to be so awesome. And yes, even older games that don't like acceleration like this, you can turn off those caches over here to the right, you see, and then your games will run. And how you do that is you hold down both mouse buttons, and when you boot up, you can disable CPU caches. Then you can boot from your Amiga game that you want to play in floppy. Or you can just boot up into Workbench with those caches turned off. Workbench is going to be really slow, but then you can run WHD load and play all those older games that don't like being accelerated. So there's always a solution for this stuff, which it's so awesome. The Amiga is so flexible. Let's check out the drive speed. I don't think it's going to be any faster. It's still the onboard IDE, but let's see if the 68030 is giving it a bump over the like 600K a second it was doing. Well, to answer that question, yes, it did. So we went from about 600K a second on the onboard IDE to 1.2 megabytes a second. Boom, love it. Thank you, awesome. Wow, this A630 is amazing. I know the Furia was first, and we all appreciate that it came out when it did, but the Furia has the nickname of infuriating. This thing has been super, super smooth and slick, this A630. It's just working. You know, while the camera was off, I, of course, behind the scenes did some testing and messed with things, and I was like, wow, okay, cool. So let me show you something real fast in Scenery Animator, because that uses, the power of 3D rendering, and it'll really task the CPU here. So here we go with a high-res Scenery Animator render. This is 640 by 200, and it's using the Mount St. Helens landscape file that it comes with. And this is really impressive. I mean, I have an Amiga 3000 over there that was stock for a long time with its 25 megahertz 68030. This 50 megahertz 68030 is scooting along. I mean, it's like I said, it's around twice the speed of a 25 megahertz 030, of course. So it's twice the speed as the Amiga 3000 that came with the 68030, and it's about half the speed of the Amiga 4000 that came with the 040. So that's pretty slick. All right, so in the end, yeah, this is going to be a great, original OCS or non-AGA WHD load gaming system. The 600 is small, it's tiny, it's portable. You can kind of stash it in the corner. It doesn't take up a lot of desk space. And using a simple adapter like you can get on eBay, like the one I'm using here, you can plug it in almost any VGA monitor. Or if you want, I've got the RGB to HDMI coming soon, and that's going to make the image look even better. like rock solid. I've shown you RGB to HDMI before with my Amiga 2500 behind me, and yeah, it's beautiful looking. So yeah, this 600 is going to get one of those, and then that's it. I'll have my CD32 for like my all-in-one, super gaming machine that does AGA. But then this 600 will be just a fun, nice machine in the corner. I can jam mods on it. I can write in Final Writer, and then yeah, I can fire up WHD Load and just play a couple quick games if I want. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to see the 600 again. Maybe not for a little bit, but we're going to see it again. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'm done with this video.